And we should be live. Welcome everyone. I'm just gonna give it a minute until I can see that you are indeed in the chat. We are live from Mirissa in Sri Lanka, and it is nearly 6 a.m. Sorry. We're going for a little sunrise walk. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me properly. I'm gonna try not to be too loud for now because this area is full of guest houses. Don't want to be waking up everyone. My legs are being bitten by some little ants, I think. I'm actually barefoot, so it's quite easy for them to climb on me. Cool, perfect-ish. Thank you very much. So we've got about 7 minutes to go. Let me check that for you. Yes, 7 minutes precisely. So if any of you wanted to go straight into the tour, got a little weird notification. If you're watching a replay the next few days or weeks, if you want to go straight into the walking tour, feel free to skip the next 7 minutes. And welcome, Natasha. Nice to see you here. Hello again, Linda. ICR. All good, perfect. What's climbing on me? I'm not sure, Natasha. I don't see them, but I think some kind of little ants, insects. I've been bitten by all type of things this week. Even some regular flies seems to be biting me yesterday. And leeches the other day in Ella after I finished the tour with you. Well, I was lucky. I had only one leech sucking my blood. My friend was there and he had 4. Oh yeah, it is tropical indeed, Natasha. Yes, it's quite warm. It's already like 26 degrees and very humid. Very, very humid. Oh, mosquito. Hi Christopher, nice to see you here. Leeches, Tish, yeah. Got a video of them with my blood. Okay, let's see what time it is. We've got 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes. If any of you were completely new to me, if you've just clicked on that video randomly, I'm Natalie, and we are about to go for a little live walk into Mirissa in Sri Lanka. Yeah, leeches. Here, I don't think there are many here, but in Ella, where I did the last tour a few days back. I mean, I knew they were there, but yeah, and it was a rainy day, so it's the days when they like to come. I had only one, I mean, and I knew they could attack. But I have a friend of mine that was here, well, a couple of them actually, and the guy had, his foot looked like Jesus Christ, he was full of blood on the rock. We went to a little waterfall, and after that he was sucked by another one, so I think he had a particular blood that attracted the leeches. Can you buy the local roasted coffee beans and chew them whilst you try to drink the coffee they make there? I suppose one could, Gregory. I've never been chewing a coffee bean, but I suppose you could. Although I've not seen much of the coffee to buy as beans. I've seen a lot of grounded coffee, but there must be some somewhere. They produce it, but they don't actually drink a lot of it over here. They prefer tea, Ceylon tea. Right, let's see. 3 minutes to go. Let me actually walk to where I wanted to start. Oh, sorry, my feet are killing me. I've been bitten all over, so I'm trying to itch one foot with the other foot. I'm actually barefoot. Maybe not the best idea, but it's going to be much more convenient once we reach the beach, because I don't know how high is the tide right now. I couldn't go and check because it was very dark. Because yesterday, I think the tide was quite high. And we'd have to get very wet to actually walk on the beach. Right. Apologies, I'm itching as I talk. That's the thing with tropical places. It's that you get bitten everywhere. But not new to me. I used to live in tropical places when I was a teenager. I lived in New Caledonia for about 3 years, and also in Guadeloupe in the French Caribbean. Not for long. I didn't really like Guadeloupe, so I went back to continental France with my mum. Right, let's see. 2 minutes to go. And it looks like I'm gonna be able to put my torch away. We've got quite a bit of twilight already. It looks like it's gonna be a great sunset, so I'm happy. Natasha, I've just checked on Google. According to Google, it's 26 right now, I think. It probably feels a bit hotter than that because of the humidity. I'm already sweaty. But yeah. 1 minute to start. Yeah, well, that was not my choice. It was my dad going into the overseas branch of his company. At the time, I hated it. You know, as a teenager, you kind of want to stay with your mates. You don't want to be moving all the time. Right. Still 1 minute. I don't know what's bitten me. I hope it's only ants. I don't think it's mosquitoes because it's really on the top of my foot. Usually mosquitoes would have targeted all my legs. Oh well. I'm gonna actually put the torch away right now. We won't need it, that's good. Because I actually do everything with one hand, so it's easier to do it now. And it is officially time to start. So welcome everyone. Welcome to Mirissa in Sri Lanka. One of the most, if not the most, touristy place in the country. And without further ado, let's flip this camera around and let me show you where I am. Now, I wanted to start here because that is sorry, camera is struggling to focus. That is something I kind of mentioned the other day in Trincomalee, but I wasn't quite sure. You know, I told you that I saw some little graves everywhere. Well, that's exactly what it is here. It looks like a little car park. And would you believe it is? See, this thing is actually for the tuk-tuk to go up and park. So they use it as a tuk-tuk car park. And a bit of a dump at the back. But look, you've got a couple of graves here. And I did double check. So on the right hand side, you've got a guest house where we had a bit of lunch yesterday. I did double check with the family. I was like, I'm sorry, may I ask, but is it your relatives buried in the back garden, or is it all the local community? And she said, yeah, both. So all over Sri Lanka, you see those mini graveyards. They look like almost improvised graveyards. I wasn't able to find the regulations, you know, to find if it has to be organized by the municipality or if anyone can start a graveyard anywhere, because they are everywhere. We're gonna take, hopefully we'll take a left soon to go into a little guest house to go through to the beach. But if I kept going like not even 200 yards straight down, there's another one. So it's interesting that they don't try to batch them together into a larger cemetery. You've got those little mini graveyards everywhere. There are not that many, of course, because in both Hinduism and Buddhism, most people get buried. But I asked the lady from the little guest house yesterday. She said no, some of them do get cremated. Even Hindus, I was surprised. I was on a bus yesterday and I saw a Hindu symbol on a grave. I was under the impression that most Hindus would get cremated, but apparently not always. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna be quiet for about 30 seconds because I've got to cross a private property here, so I don't want to be too noisy. Oops. There we go. And here we are, Mirissa Beach. And a lot of doggy friends as usual. Let's see if any of them come to follow me around. So this is one of the most popular beaches in the full country, really. And here in the south, it's one of the only beaches that are quite easy for swimming, especially with families and stuff, because the currents can be very, very high. Sadly, a lot of people have lost their lives going swimming in Sri Lanka. Let me show you, there's a lovely flag over here. I mean, even here the currents can be quite high. I did know about that because, you know what, before to come to the country, I had to go on the French government website because, you know, you have to do a visa and pay for a visa like pretty much anywhere else. It's quite straightforward, and it's about 50, I think it is $50 exactly. But I couldn't find the website to do so. I actually found a few, and I suspected a couple of them were scams, you know. So I didn't want to be giving my money into a website to have a visa that wouldn't be a real visa. So I went on the French website, you know, the travel recommendation or whatever, and to find the authentic Sri Lankan ETA visa website. And on the French website it said, be careful because of the current, because so many French people die every year. So apparently there are sadly quite a few people, you know, going snorkeling or just swimming away and never coming back. The Coast Guards, they actually saved one French last year, two Russians. They in 2023, I've read the figures actually. The local Coast Guards, they rescued 169 lives, people swimming, and 66 of them, I think, were foreigners. So quite a few. So at least they're doing a very good job. So you've got those very fancy accommodations at the front. This is not where I'm staying, but you know where I started the tour with the little improvised graveyard? That's where I stay. So I'm literally 2 minutes from the beach, and that's $9 a night. I mean, it's not high standard, but you know, it's a great location. The hotels in this country are very affordable if you are happy to maybe not have the same comfort as you would at home. But I'm quite glad I started the trip in this country by visiting locations that are not very touristy, because at least now I know the real prices of things. For example, a kutu. A kutu is the national dish here. It's I'll show you in the videos. It's made with well, I would describe it as a pasta, but it's not a pasta. It's roti. It's they call it as some kind of bread, but it looks like pasta to us. So roti plus vegetables or fish or whatever. The veggie one in Colombo, in a local place, would be 250 rupees. Now here it's minimum 1,000. So that's 4 times more. And if you go into one of those fancy places by the beach, it's probably like 6 or 7 times more. Now, if you look up there, you see a Coast Guard. So they are already watching out for people having little incidents while swimming. Hello. And I'm good, how are you? And they also do something absolutely amazing with the turtles. They actually have those little turtle nests over here. So this is organized by the Coast Guard. So it's a completely volunteer job they've given themselves. Because of course, you know, you have so many stray dogs and so many tourists that very often a normal turtle nest would be attacked, you know. And so what they do is they watch out at night for the turtles to come and bury their eggs. You can actually see that where I was in Tangale yesterday. Because it's full moon, the turtles come even more because you've got more light. I don't have the patience nor the eyesight to stay for hours at dark waiting for the turtles. I actually have a terrible eyesight. I don't see anything when it's dark. But my friend actually spotted 4 turtles nesting. So that's something you can also do in Sri Lanka. Hi Tarek, well done for staying up so late. So yeah, they wait for the turtles to come and nest, and then they grab the eggs and they rebury them over here. We've got a little map here so I can show you where I've been. I've been to Colombo, Anarapud, whatever, Trincomalee, so I've taken you there. I've taken you to Ella as well. Then I went to Yala National Park, and we are now here in Mirissa, all the way to the south. So yeah, those little turtles, they are actually being released every night. So it's a bit of a show, really. People come over. It's free. I mean, you could give a donation if you'd like. So that's what we went and see last night. So in front of us, they opened one of the nests. Let me show you. Oops. And they released 63 baby turtles. So they're super cute. It takes between 45 and 60 days. Let me remove this without doing much. So yeah, it takes between, another doggy friend here, between 45 and 60 days, and then the turtles are ready to be released into the sea. There are many eggs, but you know, turtles, they live quite a long life. I think most of them live about 100, and they start reproducing at the age of 20. And I think it's only 1 in 1,000 that actually makes it to 20 years old because of predators and because of us. Anyway, let me show you the little race from last night. So that's all the little baby turtles being released. So they're all racing into the sea. And they all made it. There was one that looked a bit unwell, that was very slow at the back, and we were like, oh, is she dead? No, they all made it into the sea. Then they're ready to go and swim. They could swim up to 72 hours, and then they'll go and make their lives at sea. Hold on, let me try to get rid of that video. But then they'll come back here to nest. Apparently they've got some kind of a magnetic field or whatever it's called, and that drives them back to come and nest here. Because today you'd think, oh, is it really the best place for them to nest? You know, it's a very busy beach. But yeah, they come back to wherever they were born. So that's quite cute, and that's very nice of the lifeguards to take care of them. And apparently their gender, so the gender of the baby turtle, is assigned depending of the temperature of the nest. So a few degrees different, and there'll be a female or there'll be a male. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. The volunteer told us last night. So all those, if you came like in the evening, we didn't come here in the evening. We always try to eat in the local places, you know, in the back street. but it's very, very, very busy. It's the busiest location I have seen in Sri Lanka. And you might remember I have told you there are not many British tourists. Well, they are here. I think what happens with the Brits is that they all come down to the south, they stay here, and then they'll go on excursions. They'll go on a daily excursion to Yala to see the safari, or to Ella to see the mountains, and they'll come back to the south. Because I've hardly met any Brits through the rest of the trip, and suddenly there are a lot of them. It's not the cheapest place to stay in the country, but of course, or to eat or drink, but of course, compared to European standard, it's still quite cheap. And straight ahead, the little island. This is Parrot Island. You can go on walk. I don't think we will, unless it's very dry, because I don't want to get the gimbal too wet. Let's go and see. Yesterday when I was here, the tide was much higher. We could actually hardly walk on the beach without being wet. So I didn't go to Parrot Island. But if the tide is lower, we can try. We might actually have a better view on the sunrise if we go there. So to get here, we came with buses from Tangale, where we were a couple of days ago. The buses are very affordable, and they can be quite fun as well. What you've got to know in the buses is that the seats at the very front, right behind the driver, it is actually reserved for the clergy. I knew because I had seen a couple of buses with a little sticker, but sometimes when you have tourists that don't speak English, it's quite fun to watch, because they would be sat there and suddenly you have a monk, a Buddhist monk coming on the bus, and they want to take their seat. That's what happened yesterday to a French couple, and it was quite funny because they understood that they had to give their seat away. So then the monk sat down, and then the monk told the boy, "You can come back next to me." And he was like, "Why? Is it only for monks or not?" Because apparently the monks are not allowed to sit next to a lady, but then if a gentleman wants to sit next to the monk, they can. So yeah, that's something to know, because those buses here, they're being filled as much as they can. So if you don't get a seat, and their driving is not smooth, so if you don't get a seat, it can be a long and uncomfortable journey. Now let's go to Parrot Island. Most people don't really use buses much, because taxis and tuk-tuks are not too expensive. And sometimes you can get a free ride. We actually got a couple of free rides. The first one was very funny. So basically we were in Yala, in a town called Tisa. It's next to the national park, where you can go and see the elephants and leopards and all that. And we were gonna come down to Tangale, so much closer to here. And it had rained a lot the day before. And we told the hotel owner, it's not really hotels, it's guest houses around here. So they're called homestay, but it's basically like a bed and breakfast. It's a little home with maybe 4 or 5 bedrooms. And anyway, the boss was like, "Oh, hold on. If you're going to Tangale, my friend is coming up from Tangale with customers at 2 o'clock. Good morning. How are you? Good. And sorry? Huh? Sorry?
It's open.
What?
It's open.
What's open?
Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
It's open. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. And let's just go. Anyway, so I'll tell you later. My friend, I'm live, so I'm just gonna go. I'm live. No, I'm live, so I need to let you go. No. Anyway, it's high, very high. They have this little thing that they chew over here. It's a plant, I don't know what it's called. But sometimes they get quite high on natural stuff. Anyway, he's gone now. He was just like, oh, sexy, I love you, sexy, I love you, and he was following me. But we're all good. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, you can. The thing is, in Sri Lankan people are so friendly. Hello.
You on the cart?
Don't worry. I think it's a bit high, but don't worry. All good, no problem at all, no problem. Don't worry, man, don't worry. It seems to be, we had the same in Trincomalee. It seems to be a bit of paranoia from people from the tourism industry. They are, how can I phrase it? They are really upset with young men maybe bothering tourists. But most of the time they're not, they're just trying to approach you. I had a similar case in Trincomalee, and the boss of an establishment went crazy at 3 young men that were approaching me, but they were not rude or anything, they were just chatting me up. So I think some of the bar owners are gonna go and chat to him. No, don't worry, I think he's a bit high, but don't worry, he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, let's see, we might, if it's not too wavy, let's try to go on the island. Oh, it's not the Coast Guard, Natasha, it's just the business owner. Let's see, if I don't have to step in too deep, we can climb up and go and see the view from Parrot Island. Yesterday, might be a bit deeper than I thought. Hold on, let me wave this up. If I miss anything in the chat, it's because I'm lifting my phone very, very much up so the phone doesn't get wet. Much better than yesterday. Yesterday you'd have to get very wet to come here. Anyway, we've made it. This is Parrot Island. Up. Up. There we go. So let's, I'll show you the view. So this is straight ahead. We're not gonna go all the way, but this is the most Instagrammed spot in Sri Lanka. It is Coconut Tree Hill, straight ahead. That's it's just a little hill with coconut trees, but it's looking quite nice, especially at sunset. And you have queues of people waiting to take their photos. Right, let me. So it's fairly easy to climb up, although there's nothing to grab. So I'm gonna just focus on my feet and not on the screen, because it's actually very dangerous to be looking through a camera when you're hiking anything, because the perspectives are different. Apparently a lot of people that disappear hiking the mountains and stuff, sometimes it's when they were filming something. Right. Up. 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 There we go. And here we are on Parrot Island. Nobody seems to really know why it's called Parrot Island. And yes, I was saying, Sri Lankan people are so friendly, the vast majority of them, that sometimes it's actually confusing, because they're so friendly that you don't know if they're trying to scam you or if they're just being nice. We had an example, 2 days ago. So we were telling the hotel owner we're going to Tangale with the bus, and the hotel owner was like, no, the bus, you'd have to go a very long way because because the road has been flooded. Okay, that made sense, you know, because it was indeed very rainy the day before. And he said, well, if you don't want to take the bus, my friend is coming at 2 and he can take you back for free in a car with air conditioning. So at 2 o'clock. So he can take you all the way to Tangale. So that's like 70 kilometers, I think. And we were like, oh, great. Yeah, I mean, a free ride. If it's free, yeah, great. So he was like, okay, yeah, come back at 2 and then you go with my friend. At that point, he called him a friend, by the way. And we just went for lunch, came back at 2, and we got back and he's like, okay, my friend is like 20 kilometers away, so you've got to go. You get into a tuk-tuk. You don't pay my friend, you don't pay, it's a free ride, but you've got to pay the tuk-tuk. So you need to go now, so I was like, we were like, okay, so the tuk-tuk knows where we're going, right? Yeah. And you pay the tuk-tuk 500, that's it, but then you don't pay for the ride. Okay. So we were kind of thrown into a tuk-tuk, and the guy started driving away. And eventually we asked him, because we were like, I hope he knows where we're going, because we don't. And we asked the tuk-tuk guy, I was like, do you know where you're going? He's like, no, where do you want to go? And then we started giggling, because obviously we didn't know where we were going. He didn't know where we were going. None of us knows where we're going. And he stopped. I mean, that was like maybe 2 kilometers away. That was not a journey that was 500 rupees. And he was like, that's all I can. That's all I can do for 500. So he stopped us in the middle of a road, not even in front of a shop or pharmacy or whatever it might be, in the middle of the road. So it was not a point that was easy for pickup, you know, not a meeting point. And I was like, hold on, let's call the other guy. Luckily, I had his number. That was not for help. It was because he wanted me to promote his safari tours if we met anyone in Tangale that wanted to go to Yala. So I called the other one, and he's like, I'm like, okay, he's dropping us in the middle of nowhere. What do we do? And then I was like, okay, I'll let you talk to him. So then they speak their own language for a moment, like if they never had this conversation before. So eventually the hotel owner was like, okay, you stay there. My brother is coming in 10 minutes. I was like, hold on, I thought he was a friend. Yeah, my brother. I was like, okay. So let me get this right. We're getting into a car with your brother here in the middle of nowhere. How is he gonna find us? No, don't worry. I was like, okay, what car is it? What color? White. Okay, white car. What's your brother's name? What? I'm like, no, what's his name? What? I was like, are you saying his name is what? And he's like, yeah, white car. And I'm like, hold on, his name is what? and he was like, yeah, he's coming in 10 minutes. And my friend was like, there's no way this guy is gonna find us, right? We are in the middle of the road. There's no shop, nothing to know where we are. And I was like, okay, let's wait 10 minutes and then we'll jump on the bus, or we give up. And 5 minutes later, there's a white car that pulled over. And I was like, hey, what is your name? and he was like, what? And I was like, why did you stop here? To help you. Where are you going? Tangale. And I'm like, hold on, did your brother tell you to come? And his English was very limited. So I showed him a photo of the guy, and he's like, no, I don't know him. So I was, why did you stop then? To help. And I was like, my friend is like, it's not him. And I was like, hold on, it's a white car. There are not many cars over here. Most people are on a tuk-tuk. So it's a white car, and he's going to Tangale, and he's willing to take us for free. It must be him, right? So we got in the car. And my friend tried to open the boot to put our luggage inside. And he was like, no. So he didn't want us to see what was in the boot. So I was like, I mean, you know me. I was like, oh, is he hiding a dead body or something? And we got in the car with a complete stranger with a very limited English. And then he was talking to someone on the phone. So he actually passed me the phone to speak to his sister with a very limited English as well. And she was like, hello, how are you? What country? I was like, oh, I'm French. And I was like, can I ask, is your brother a driver? Is he gonna try to charge us? No, nice, a good man. I was like, oh, he's not a taxi. He's not gonna try to make us pay. No, he's my brother. So how long you stay in Sri Lanka? Oh, is your friends from Spain? Oh, you know. And then I was like, okay, so I give you your brother back. And at that point, the other guy, the hotel owner, calls me and he's like, where are you? My brother is waiting for you. And I'm like, we are already in the car. I think we are in a white car, at least, that is going to Tangale. And he's like, this is not my brother. What are you doing in this car? I was like, I don't know. There's a white car that stopped. I mean, you know. And it turned out that the guy had nothing to do with the situation. He was just a very nice guy that wanted to take us for free. So he just pulled over because he saw two girls on the big road. He had been to a funeral, so he was wearing white. It's the tradition here to wear white at the funerals for some reasons. And so just a very nice guy that took us completely free, 70 kilometers away. But that was very funny, the confusion, because if he had a black car, we would have never even considered getting into the car with a complete stranger. But yeah, he was just nice. Cool. Let's go back onto the main thing so you can see the sun. Oops. So yeah, they wear white for funerals, and they also wear white for the school uniforms, which is probably very difficult to keep clean, because see the ground here, it's quite reddish and it's quite volatile, you know, so you very often end up with red dust or red hearse spot on your clothing. So it's probably very challenging for the mummies to clean the school uniforms that are all white. Yep. So it's a bit painful to walk down here. Good morning. Oh, by the way, a bit random, but because it was just International Women's Day, Sri Lanka was actually the first country to have a female prime minister. 1960, I think it was. She was, I think there was a story behind it. I think she was the widow of the prime minister, and then she just took over the job. But still interesting. And there we go. At least today we have a proper sunset, not a sunrise, not like in Ella when I took you for a sunrise walk and there was no sun. No, those are not parrots, they are crows, Tish. They are very funny, those crows. They love chili. The other day in Trincomalee, I was having I think a cotu, and I had a little bowl of chili. That was the only thing that was left on the lunch table. And one of those crows came in and he literally ate in front of me like 40 spoons of, no tablespoons even, of chili flakes. So, you know, they've got a strong stomach. And they can be quite violent. If you have food, they'll jump on you to steal it. Like the monkeys. The monkeys are the same. They'll jump on you to get the food. They stole a snack from my bicycle the other day. That was very funny. It was a snack that was very sweet that I didn't like. I actually kept it to give it to the monkeys, but they didn't give me time to give it to them. They just followed my bicycle. It was in a plastic bag attached to the gear. And they just snapped the bag away and took the sweets. Anyway, Mirissa was actually, and still is today, a huge fishing port. Behind, I'll show you the other side. Behind the hill over there, you have a port with hundreds of fishing boats. We went to the port last night. It was actually very funny because the way the boats were organized, they have to all go out at the same time, because otherwise the last boats, they're completely stuck. They cannot get out of the harbor. And it's only in the 80s really that the first hotel was built, and in the 90s tourism started fairly slowly. Of course, you know, after that, well, you had the civil war and everything, so Sri Lanka was not necessarily the most the number one country to visit, but now it's very, very touristy around here. Okay, let me focus. We're gonna go down. Let me focus on this one. So I'm just gonna be semi-quiet for a minute, and again, I'm not gonna be looking at the chat because I've got to look at where I'm walking to, because it's actually a bit wet and slippery. Oops. Oops. I mean, this is obviously all handmade. In the UK, that would drive health and safety officers crazy. Oops. There we go. And oh, it looks a bit deeper than it was. Oh no, it's just the guy stepping in the wrong way. Cool. Let's go back to the mainland. And that's probably where we'll wrap up the tour, but let's go back down there. Which way did I come from? Oh, this side. There we go. Now, again, I'm gonna lift you up quite high, so if I miss anything in the chat, it is because I'm simply not looking. I'm trying to save the phone from the waves. There we go, we've made it. On that side, a bit further, it's called Turtle Bay. We tried snorkeling it yesterday, but the water is not hugely clear, so it's actually difficult to spot a turtle because you don't see that far away underwater. Mirissa is very popular for excursions, going to see the whales. I don't really care, so we didn't book it because it's like maybe $35 or between $35 and $50 to go and see the whales. And they also do, that's what my friend wanted to do, but it's apparently illegal, although they do it anyway. They do snorkeling with whales as well. It's quite expensive. You've got to first do the whale watching from the boat, then once they've spotted the whales, they'll go on a speedboat and then they'll go and snorkel there. And that's like $120. Well, anything illegal is always a bit more expensive. It's not something that really takes my fancy. So what we'll do is we'll rent scooters and we'll go and explore the next beaches. Because the other ones are very much known for surfing. They do a lot of surfing classes as well if you want to try surfing. Here it's the only part that's fairly easy for people to swim. And even that, it's not actually... yeah, Natasha, it's that's probably why it's illegal. Yeah. Well, there are a lot of things that are not always great for the animals. On Coco, so it's my finger, but I'll show you. So that's Coconut Tree Hill. There's a gentleman at the bottom that has a little monkey, a baby monkey, and he's just waiting there for people to come and take a photo. I mean, I love my monkeys, but you know, he's probably taken the little baby from his mother just to use him to make some money. But yesterday the little monkey climbed on me anyway, and he was so cute. He had these little bracelets and stuff. But yeah, not great for the animals. We'll go a bit further so I can show you those lovely little restaurants by the sea.
Morning.
Good morning. There are a lot of, let me show you, there are a lot of surfers getting ready for a little surfing session. Mirissa is very much a surfing location as well. So yeah, the other thing that really shaped the history of Mirissa is it's the tsunami in 2004. You know, there was the Indian Ocean earthquake and a huge tsunami that killed, I think, 35,000 in Sri Lanka. 14 people here in Mirissa, but it destroyed a lot of guest houses and hotels, and was quite devastating for the town. And not too far from here, also because of the same earthquake, you had the Matara Express disaster. It's a train line that comes down from Colombo. Beautiful train line apparently, but the train was caught into the wave, into the tsunami, and it derailed. 1,700 passengers. The vast majority of them lost their lives. So it was the deadliest train disaster in history. So because of the same tsunami. I think it was on Boxing Day as well. Sri Lankan people are funny. They don't see anything wrong with using the term foreign. So you'd go to the wine shop and you have a queue, foreigners only. Why? I mean, why? Do we get a different price, or do we skip the queue, or why? You know, and there are a lot of occasions when it's quite interesting to see. Stuff for foreigners and stuff for locals. That's so lovely. See, today we still have a little bit of a beach area, but yesterday when the tide was up, it was actually quite difficult to come down here, because where I am now, my feet would be underwater. So when you went for a swim, you'd have to kind of, you know, put your stuff on a boat or somewhere, so your bags wouldn't get too wet. And a lot of people come here to Mirissa. Oh, see, we've got a difference in the stone here, in the sand here. I'm not sure why. I don't know where the black sand is coming from, but we've got a little patch of black sand. So yeah, a lot of people come to Mirissa because they're going to Gale, or Gale, I guess, if you pronounce it the English way. That's a huge Dutch fort. It's a UNESCO heritage site. It's the largest European fort in Asia, and that's where we're heading to tomorrow. So that's I'll show you in a video. So that's the historical part of the south. Oh, well, talking about the Dutch Sri Lanka. That's the name of the boat. Anyway, let me show you the view again so you can see Parrot Island in the sun. Oh, Christopher, no, I don't think so. Oh, actually, maybe, we never know. But it doesn't feel any sticky, you know, when you have oil issues, it's not, maybe, we never know. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the tour. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions before we go. And that's my last. Oops, sorry, I'm pulling the cable by accident. That's my last tour abroad. I'm getting back into London on the 19th, so then I'll be scheduling tours back in London as usual. And we've got to go down the Strand. Remember, that's my next Monopoly tour. Thank you very much for coming today. If you have any questions about anything, let me know in the chat. Thank you, CR. Thank you, Tish. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you for coming so late for the few British, and thanks everyone for joining us as usual. Thank you, Linda. What do they chew to make them high? Natasha is asking. I don't know what it's called. It looks like a little nut. It's red on white. They slice it, then they put it into a leaf, like a green leaf, and they put some white stuff that is the glue. That's actually, I think it might be a bit. You might, they have the same in India. You might have spotted people in India that have their teeth a bit red, and it's actually quite bad. I think it's bad for gum disease and teeth falling and stuff. But they chew it all the time. You see even drivers chewing it. I don't remember what it's called. You can find it in the UK if you go to Brixton and stuff. I don't know whether it's illegal in the UK, but I think they have the same in some part of Africa. Oh, thank you, Christopher. Beetle nut, apparently. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, but like the guy earlier, I didn't quite see his teeth. Maybe it could have been something completely different. So it's something that it's not too much. It could be. I mean, they chew it all the time, but I think if you have too much, you can get a bit funny. With cocoa leaves, okay. Yeah, we've seen it at the market in the Maldives, actually, in Malé. They were. Well, you see it everywhere. Every time you go into a little shop, they actually sell the kits. Oh, let me show you. There's a fisherman here. They've got these funny boats. I don't know if you can see how skinny the boat is. You cannot sit on that boat. It is so skinny. They have to be standing. Well, I'm guessing he's been fishing. I don't know what he's been fishing, but yeah, those interesting looking boats. Anyway, thank you guys for coming today. If any of you dropped me a little tip on PayPal or buy me a coffee, that's always very, very much appreciated. And Natasha, I haven't, no. My friend did, but just a little bit, so she didn't get any effect. I haven't because it gets your teeth a bit red, and yeah. I think what happens is that the red color might get stuck into the tartar between your teeth, and so no, I didn't try. Anyway, thank you guys. Hopefully I'll see you. Oh, thank you, Tariq. Oh, it's called the pan once it's filled. Yeah, thank you, Tariq. So yeah, I'll see you back in London. Have a great afternoon, a great morning, a good night, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Morning. What did you do fishing?